Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Jayden Brown. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hello, how are you doing? Say hi in the comments. I don't know what. Today I have a tutorial for you on the recent video I uploaded titled Panasonic G7 Cinematic, something along those lines. It was basically the video I made using my Panasonic G7, and I posted it to Reddit, and not a lot, but a few people actually were interested on how I made that video, which was quite cool. So I decided to make this video to explain how I made that. We're going to be going through the gear I used, such as camera, lens, gimbal, how I actually edited it. So I'll be showing you, the actual project files in Premiere Pro and After Effects, how I color graded it, what settings I use on my camera, absolutely everything about how I actually made and edited and created that video. So yeah, to start off with, the camera I used was the Panasonic G7, which I'm filming on right now. It is a great little camera, around £500 new, I think. I've seen it on eBay for like £350. So you can get it really cheap, shoots 4K. It's a really good budget option for any budget filmmakers out there. Lens I used was the 25mm f1.7 Panasonic lens. It's pretty standard lens. I'm pretty sure it's the first lens that most people actually want to get with their Panasonic. It's basically the equivalent of a 50mm lens if you were shooting, on a full frame camera. I know it's around about 150 new, 150 to 200 new, I think, but I got it for like around 100 used off eBay, and mine works perfectly fine. So yeah, you can find one pretty cheap. On the lens, I added a variable ND filter, just so I could keep my aperture low and, try and get that cinematic look. Because obviously shooting f1.7 outside, it's going to let in loads of light, so you need some way to darken it, and I wasn't willing to up my shutter speed to like 5,000. That would have created such a choppy look. So that is the camera, lens and filter. Then I put all of that on top of a Moser Aircross gimbal, which I used to obviously stabilize it. It is a pretty cheap, basic gimbal, no real amazing features. If you've used the gimbal before, you can pick this up in about 10 seconds and, figure out all the buttons. It works well. I had no problems balancing it. Obviously created all these smooth shots, and yeah, it's Panasonic G7 plus 25mm is quite a light setup. This gimbal had absolutely no problem, working with that. And that is the gear I used. I'll have all the links in the description to actually go and buy that gear. If you want to, buy the gear, I have Amazon links, eBay links, UK links, US links, all the links. So now onto my camera settings. So for the majority of the video, I kept them the same. I shot 1080p 50 FPS. 50 FPS because I'm in Europe and we use the PAL system instead of NTSC. Shot 50 FPS, and then in post I conformed that down to 24 frames per second to get the half speed slow motion sort of look. And I decided to do that just because slow motion I think looks kind of cool, and it's smoothed out all the mini bumps and jitters I had, if there were any, when I was shooting with the gimbal. Yeah, so I shot 1080p 50 FPS. Then my shutter speed was 1/100, so I could get, the 180-degree shutter angle, just so it, looks smooth. Aperture, I stayed around 1.7 to 2.8 for the majority of it, just because having blurred backgrounds looks cinematic and is, it looks nice and creamy, and with slow motion, it all works together to look nice. And then I think I had the ISO around 100, but still this is obviously too bright, so I had to crank the ND filter around until I got a correct exposure. But yeah, that's pretty much how I set up the camera. I used a flat profile. I'm pretty sure I used custom with just everything cranked down, sharpness, contrast, saturation just all cranked down, just so I could have as much, flexibility in post to actually edit and change the video. Yeah, so that is all the camera settings that I use. So I've gone over gear, camera settings. Let's hop into Premiere Pro and you can actually see the project that I used and how everything's laid out. Okay, welcome to Premiere Pro. So we are now in the project which I was working in to actually edit this video. You can see all the layers here. It's not actually that much when you think about it. Most of it's just a bunch of clips strung together and a couple of edits obviously, but the majority of it is actually, in After Effects, whatever edits there really are. First, again, go ahead and check out the full video. I won't play it here, just go check out the full video. It will be linked in the description or somewhere in one of the corners. So I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, because some of the clips are obviously just they're just normal clips, nothing special. Such as let's just start with this clip. This clip here, there's nothing done to it apart from the color grade, which I'll go through at the end of the color grade. But actually, I'll show you anyway, just for the sake of it. If we go into it, it's obviously a linked clip, as you can see here. So if we open it up in After Effects, which takes forever for some reason. Okay, so we are in After Effects, and as you can see from this clip, this linked composition actually is not just one clip. I edited a bunch of clips in this one composition. So, but this first bit we'll work on it just started off as this one clip here. This whole clip is just me. I was just stood out in the field, waiting for. I was literally just filming the these like nice looking cool plant things, whatever they are. The little, I don't know what they're called, but I was just filming those. And then all of a sudden, this goose just, or it's not goose, this swan just flew across. And I was like, that timing is beautiful. That was perfect. So I literally got this bit I wanted. And also the good thing is I filmed this all, remember, in 50 FPS. So I was able to slow it down. Let me find this composition again. There we go. So I was able to slow it down. I think I slowed it down. Did I slow it down here? I may have slowed it down in After Effects, but either way, bit of slow motion, 50% speed, or 48% speed to be exact. 48% because it was 50 FPS and we wanted to make it go down to 24 frames per second. So if you get up a cheeky calculator and you do 50 divided by 24 equals 2.08 times that by 100, 208%. So that is 208% in After Effects. So you'd go time stretch, and you see 208% or 208.333% to be exact. You can also do 24 over 50 to get 0.4 and times that by 100. Then you get 48%, which is the actual percentage of how slow it is. And is it in here? No, it's not in this one. But that's what you'd do. You'd go speed duration and change this to 48%. So we have that clip there. Then we have this cool clip here. So my thoughts behind this was, obviously this is like a zoomed out version sort of thing. So you have this like widest shot, even though it's on 25mm, it's still wide, establishing kind of. And then we zoom into this bit, so it's more of like a close-up detail shot. And again, this shot is literally just the same thing. We shot it. I shot it like this, went back a couple of times, we shot it, then went back in, slowed down to 48%. And it gave us this. I only needed a little quick bit, didn't I? Okay, also the main thing I'm guessing you guys are interested in is this little transition here. So I don't know if you're going to be upset by this, but these transitions are all part of a stock library of transitions, or a plugin called Motion Bro, which I have over here actually. Motion Bro, so you can buy this for like dirt cheap. I think it's like $60 or something like that, which is really good for what it is. And you basically get all of these cool looking transitions. You get zooms, you get flare, everything, every transition you could think of. And then when you want to add one, you literally click it, choose if you want it to be a short one or a long one, and it puts it literally directly onto your timeline. And then obviously you put it over the cut, so it masks the cut, and then boom. That is the easiest way to do it, and it's simple and it works. A lot of you may be, I feel like a lot of people don't like using transitions like preset packs because they think it's cheating, which I don't think at all, because one, even though I didn't make this transition pack, I'm using it in my project to like using it how I'm using it, if that makes sense. Basically, I am, you know, adding this transition how I want to add it. I'm making it my own sort of thing. Secondly, people use stock footage in their clips. I don't think that's cheating as well. People use, you know, stock audio clips. I don't think any of this is cheating or one of the things you got to use. I mean, I could go through and make this transition frame by frame, or just make it. I could get like a picture of a film stock, could add these fades to the image, but add this grain. It would take probably about 10 minutes to work it out, but it's just easier if I just have to do one click, boom. Oh, another point is I don't think it actually matters whatever you use. I think it's how you use it. I think it's how you use the transitions, which make it effective. But anyway, yeah. So a lot of the transitions are just transition packs over cuts. This one, same transition over here, same transition over there. Apart from this one's just a more basic version. And obviously we've got just a couple of cuts. But yeah, that's a lot of it is just this transition pack, which I'll link in the description because it is so good, so cheap. You get a lot of transitions, a lot of crazy transitions. But I would highly recommend it if you're making YouTube videos. You just slap on this transition, and it just, you know, makes it look cool. Obviously, you're not gonna be able to just become an incredible filmmaker, storyteller videographer by just slapping on transitions, but I think if you use them correctly, then, you know, it's effective and it makes your videos look sick. Okay, we're going to go on to another effect. So we're going to go on to this one over here, as you can see. This little one here. So let's go find that. I think it's at the end of this. Yeah, okay. So basically this one, again, is just a cut. And then it is this distorted zoom in. The difference is, I added a couple of keyframes. So for this main bit, it's literally just this cut here. So without the transition, it is boom, boom. These are the original clips, if I can find them. It's just me in the field. It's just that, me looking up. Add this transition into it. And you got boom. Then in the actual Premiere Pro, so that was all in After Effects. Then in Premiere Pro, I added a couple more effects. So what I did was, if I go to, where is it? I don't normally use this layout. I'm just doing it because normally I have 2 monitors, so I've just obviously to film it I have to have 1 monitor. But for this, I'm pretty sure I added some keyframes somewhere. Where is the keyframes I'm looking for? Well, basically, as you can see here, this clip, it's quite wide. So I had it zoomed in, and also as you can see, it's rotated. And then I also on top of that scaled in, but I can't seem to find it. All you'd have to do, I'll just like, demonstrate it here. Scale, rotation, over to here, have them normal, scale it in, rotate it. Literally that. I'm not sure where those keyframes are in this project. The thing is, I don't name my projects that well, so it's kind of hard to find. And then again, we have this transition here, which is just from the transition pack again, so I won't explain that. Just input this, a little punch in there, just on the beat, just because I don't know why I did that. I think it was, my theory was just because I had the little beat there. It kind of went, I could have probably been a bit more creative with that, but yeah. Over here we have a bit of different things. Basically, because I shot the footage in 920 by 1080 and then I added these black bars over it, I was able to, you know, position it differently without losing anything. Just pan down. As soon as I come up, I pan down. Then again, just a simple cut. And yeah, that's basically it. Like, I don't want to go like super in depth about every single keyframe I did, because honestly there's not actually a lot. It's basically just that transition pack, a couple of keyframes of scaling, rotation, and that is the main, like, I guess, substance of the actual video. The second most important thing in this project is definitely the audio. So obviously we have the main track, which I'll link again in the description, but if we remove that track or mute it, you're able to hear all of the background noise or all of the added sound effects that I added in post. If I really wanted to be professional about it, I could have brought out my audio recorder and recorded actual live sounds, which probably would have been better, but for this I didn't do that. We're just going to listen to the actual video just with no actual music, just all the added sounds I added. So yeah, that's basically it. As you hear, there's a lot of this ambient background noise. It sounds like the sea. That's why I think I searched like a seaside ambient noise. Then you have over here, you have the flap of the wings, if you can hear it. Just a slight flap of the wings and slight bird chirping as well. Then over here, the walking gravel sort of noise. It kind of cuts off abruptly. That should have been faded out, but anyway. Bird sound again, these like mini bird flaps, and it all works together with the actual audio. So when the actual music's playing, you can't tell that much. You can kind of hear it. You can kind of hear it in the background. But stuff like this click, it matches up with the audio, so it's like, it's kind of interesting, and I don't know, I think it just ties the visuals, what you're seeing and what you're hearing together, and ultimately that's what you want. You want them to be like seamlessly tied together, so people are just more engaged, I guess, in your footage. So yeah, that's basically this clip here. Boom, boom, like that sort of thing. Obviously, most of the cuts are synced up to the sound as well, which adds to it. I think people overlook the audio aspect of it. I think audio is definitely just as important as the video side, because, you know, with just no audio, this would just, it wouldn't, I don't think it would be as effective. But anyway, that is video done, audio done. Now onto the color grade. So this color grade was quite interesting. Let me just, is this all the color grade layers here? Yeah, I think this is all the color grade layers. So let me just turn them all off so you can see what it looks like before. So obviously, all of it's shot flat. It all looks pretty. It's not, because on the G7 you can't shoot super flat, but it's still not, you can tell it's not like popping with color. It's not visually appealing, or just basically just how you see it in real life, I guess. So yeah, I wanted to firstly add obviously the crop black bars. This is not the best way of cropping your video. You should actually, you know, have your sequence settings set to whatever you want. So I should have gone sequence settings instead of exported at 1920 by 1080, exported at something like 1920 by 816, and I should have done it that way instead, and then just obviously not had the black bars. But I did it this way just because I was posting it to Instagram. I wanted there to be black bars, which kind of makes sense. On YouTube, if you upload a video with black bars, it messes up and all this stuff, so you shouldn't really do it. But yeah, so I had the black bars there, and then the first color grade. So let's go through each clip one by one. So as you can see here, we have the color tab open, and we just did a bit of basic correction. Increase the contrast, decrease highlights, decrease shadows, you know, create more contrast. I could have increased the highlights, but it was getting way too blown out, and I wanted to preserve that detail in the highlights. Increase whites a bit, decrease blacks, saturation, increase that a bit. What was over here? Not much in creative, nothing in curves. I'm surprised. I'd do a little S curve, but didn't do anything there. And that's basically that for that clip. It's just, that was just a basic. There's no really style to that. It's just, you know, changing it from the flat profile back up to a standard, I don't know, I guess you'd say WEC 709 look. Next clip. These two clips I think are probably the nicely graded clips. Over here we have before and after. So for this one I'm obviously going for a teal and orange look. Again, we just did some basic adjustments. Increased the contrast ever so, increased the exposure ever so slightly. Increased the contrast a lot. Decrease highlights, decrease shadows, increase whites. Keep blacks around the same. Saturation, increase that a bit. With these also, obviously I was going for the teal and orange look, so I increased the temperature to make it a bit more orange. I probably could have gone without and left it down here, just so I get more of the blues, because up here you don't get as much of the blues. I think actually, if I were to do it again, yeah, I'd keep it like that. I think that looks better. Just so you have more of the blues instead of just a completely blown out sky. We have blues into the shadows, before, after, and then into the highlights we have a bit of orange. Curves, standard S curve. We only did the RGB curve in this one, but yeah, standard S curve just to add more contrast. And then also, yeah, in this one I faded off the shadows ever so slightly. That was basically it for, I'm pretty sure that was it. Yeah, that was basically it for the teal and orange look. It's not that hard to achieve. Oh no, what did I do? Yeah, over here actually. Missed out this. So to actually get the teal and orange look, it started off like this. So it looks, I personally like the oranges to be more pinkish reddish. That's just my personal opinion. But what we did here was just select this color here pretty much. What you can do is you can go in here and select this, which is basically the same thing. Then I just pushed it up just to push in that pinkish tones. I could have kept it as orange, had like a proper teal and orange look, but I prefer more pinky. So push that there, which I think looks a bit nicer. But yeah, that's basically that for that grade. And then on this second clip, basically the same. I think this second clip is a lot more, I think this is such a nice clip, mainly because of, you know, the beautiful blur in the background. But it's pretty much the same as that other one, a bit darker, but basically the same grade as that previous clip. Then we have these clips here, this selection of clips in this cornfields. I tried doing the same thing, you know, pushing this pinkish tone, but it wasn't looking too good. So just kept out of that orange. But these grades are all just basic grades. Contrast up, highlights down, shadows down, whites up, blacks pretty much on the same. And I basically do that for all the clips just because I find the settings I use on my G7, that's how it looks the best. One thing I do like to do sometimes is try different white balances just to see what looks you get. Just use the selector. If you want to get the truest look, you select something which is neutral or white or 50% grey in your shot to get, you know, true white. But obviously I'm going for stylized looks, so I don't mind too much about that. I like to fade out the blacks. I think that's just a personal preference. I'm quite into faded blacks on photos. That's where I got this technique from. I've seen like a lot of Instagrammers, you know, fading out the blacks, and it looks kind of cool. So I was like, I might as well try that in video. Obviously, each clip has to be slightly adjusted to how it was shot. So what I would have done is I'd have made this first edit on this clip, then dragged it across, and then cut it, and then I can just edit this part of the clip now. And then, you know, obviously it's going to need to be adjusted a bit, edit this bit, increase the contrast, etc. So it matches how this clip looks. But that's basically what I did for all the clips. Before, after, only adding a bit of contrast, bit of saturation. I think these shots, it's not the color grade in this shot which looks nice. I think it's just the lighting. Like you see how we've got the light coming from the left hand side and it's just accenting my clothes, and it's got like sort of spotlight effect on me. Also the shot's nicely composed. I think that adds to it as well, because there's not actually much color grading going on in this. It's basically, as you can see, just this basic increase in the contrast, or this stuff, just to, you know, actually make the shot not flat. This shot was quite annoying because, as you can see, to keep me exposed correctly, we had to blur out the background, the sky, so you can't do much at that point. Once it's blown out, you can't really retrieve any details, so you just have to work with what you got. But that is basically the project for this. A lot of it, as you can see, is just these cool effects. Added a bit of tracking here. Just tracked, as you can see, just tracked this part of the glasses, so I could get a rotation. And then we've got the rotation of it, which looks nice. But yeah, once you break a video down, it really is basic, and you just layer things. So we obviously edited it first, then added the music, or, you know, added the music while we were editing it. Then we added all the sound effects, then the color grade, and just, it all ties together to make a nice piece. But yeah, that is about it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, if I missed out anything, I probably have missed out a big section. I can't think of anything at the moment, but if there's anything else you want to see, please leave a message down in the comments and I will reply to it. And yeah, I'm going to be making a lot more videos. I'm trying to release 2 videos a week. One's going to be a tutorial video, one's going to be just a cinematic video, sort of like this video here. And then I'll make a tutorial on an effect I used in that video, something like that. But yeah, I just want to create some awesome content, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, please consider subscribing, leaving a like, leaving a comment, anything. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.